We have an extremely active winter storm pattern ahead of us, with potentially record-breaking cold air set to make its way down into the states. But before we get into that, let's talk about the current snowstorm moving through the Midwest that's going to affect millions. And let's take a look at the latest projected snow totals from the National Weather Service. It's November 29th, 2025. Let's get into the weather updates. As most of you know, we have a pretty strong storm system moving through the states. It made its way from the northern Rockies through the northern plains. Now it's pushing from the central plains out through the Midwest. We currently have some snow falling through portions of Nebraska, Iowa, a little bit up there in the Dakotas and Minnesota. Snow is moving into Wisconsin and is beginning to take over Illinois. Indiana may be seeing some early flakes now as well. We're also looking at some potential mixing and ice through portions of Missouri and then up here through portions of southern Nebraska and northern Kansas. And we have some heavy downpours stretching from about central Missouri through Arkansas down into Louisiana, and this will all be making its way out to the east throughout the day. This low pressure system will intensify, it will deepen today, and the snow will become more intense. Trust me, if you walk outside in Illinois and you don't see a lot of snow on the ground, if you're in central to northern Illinois, that snow rate is going to increase during the day. Same for central to southern Minnesota, central to southern Wisconsin, and then of course this is going to make its way into Michigan and then out towards Ohio today as well. Now let's quickly go over the latest projected snow totals from the National Weather Service. Minneapolis, we're still looking like 3 to 4 inches. On the high end, you could get 8+ inches. You're going to have a really good snow ratio up here. You already have a small blanket of snow on the ground. The ground is cool, so if you do get some of these stronger bands moving through the city, the snow will pile up pretty quickly, but again, expect it 3 to 4, maybe 3 to 5 inches up there in the Minneapolis metro. As we get into southern Minnesota, you can see we're going up to 6 all the way up to potentially 9 inches of snow. Rochester, Albert Lee. Moving over to Sioux Falls, we're looking at around 6 inches, down to Sioux City, potentially 6 inches of snow. The latest projection for Omaha is 5.5 inches. Moving over to Des Moines, they're now expecting about 10.5 inches, and then we kind of have the bullseye right here. Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Davenport, a foot to 15 inches is on the table right now. Dubuque, about a foot is on the table right now as well. Moving up to Eau Claire, out to Green Bay, 5 to 7 inches up there. And then as we get farther up into northern Wisconsin, obviously this is going to drop off 3, 2, and then up towards Duluth, Minnesota, we're looking at potentially around 1 inch today. The UP of Michigan could see a widespread 5 to 7 inches. Moving down to Madison, Wisconsin and Milwaukee, we're looking at potentially 10 to 11, maybe 10 to 12 inches of snow today. And then Chicago, around 8 inches. This is where it's really been sitting between 8 and 9 for a couple days. If you do get the high end, you could see 18+ inches of snow. Again, you need the right scenario to play out there, but it is possible. You get a lot more than 8 inches. That is the expected though. Moving down to St. Louis, we're looking at potentially 4 to 5 inches of snow. This is actually, I believe, gone up since last night, but you can see there's a quick drop off to the south here as this snow turns into kind of sleet and a wintry mix. Terre Haute, about 3 to 4 inches. Champaign, 8 inches. Decatur, 8 inches. Springfield, about 9.5. You could get a little bit more than that. Obviously, the high end is going to be about 4 to 5 inches above that. Indianapolis, 2 to 4 inches is on the table for you guys. Lafayette, 7 inches. Fort Wayne, 8 inches. And then Gary out to South Bend, we could see a foot plus of snowfall. Kalamazoo up to Grand Rapids, we're talking 11 to 13 inches potentially. Most of Michigan is looking at a blanket of about 6 inches to a foot of snow. Out towards Detroit, 6 inches is the expectation, maybe 9+ if you hit your high end. Moving over to Ohio, we're looking at maybe 1 to 2 inches for Columbus. Columbus, they've actually brought down to 1 inch now. Dayton's at about 1.5 inches. Mansfield, we're looking at 2.5 inches. And then Cleveland up to Erie over here, we could see somewhere between 4 to 6 inches of snow. Toledo and northwestern Ohio, we're looking at potentially 5 to 7 inches of snowfall. As we get out towards PA, we could see a dusting in northern Jersey and then across most of the state of Pennsylvania. Of course, northwestern PA, far upstate western New York, you're looking at some good snow. A lot of this is going to be snow banding. Syracuse could see another 3 to 4 inches of snow. Rochester, about 2 inches. And then as we move into northern upstate New York, again, this is going to be a lot of lake effect, but we could see a blanket of somewhere between 1 to 5 inches with some lake effect dropping up to 8 inches of snow. Moving up into the mountains of Vermont and New Hampshire, we could see some decent snow up here as well, somewhere between 2 to 6 inches. And then inland Maine up here, again, this is kind of a blanket of somewhere between 2 to 6, maybe 2 to 7 inches of snow for you guys there. Overall, not too bad. We're not expecting too much more snow in the Dakotas, although again, southeastern Dakota, you still could see another maybe 3 to 5 inches falling. And then out here in the mountains, Colorado, we're expecting some more good snow for you. Denver, down to Colorado Springs, maybe a dusting to 1 inch, but the mountains are looking like they're going to get pretty good snow, so that's good for skiing. Salt Lake City, the mountains around you are also going to get some good snow, not a ton, but 3 to 5 inches it looks like is possible. It's hard to tell with mountain snow. It kind of creates its own weather. Really hard to tell totals per peak, but again, it's at least something here. Just so you understand what some of these high-end totals could be, in here, we're talking about 1.5 feet or more, maybe 2 feet of snow on the high end. We're talking about 1 foot of snow in this region if you were to see the high end, 8 inches through this region if we were to see the high end, and then in this yellow here, potentially 6 inches of snow if you were to get your high end amount, and then pushing out to this darker blue, we're about 4 to 5 inches of snow if you were to see the higher end amount. So again, if you get lucky with some of this banding, the way the snow moves over you guys, you could see some pretty hefty totals through the Midwest. So how is this storm going to progress throughout the day? This right here is at about 18 Z's, so this would be at around 12 in the afternoon Central Time, and this would be at around 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see our system dumping snow in Iowa, Illinois, Wisconsin, and then that heavier snow starts to move up into Minneapolis as we get into the early afternoon. This is where we're expected to be around 5 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central. So as we get into the evening hours, some good snow beginning to move into Michigan, maybe some good snow falling in northern Indiana, and that snow beginning to fall in northwestern Ohio. Now, this could be when the heaviest snow is falling in southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, including Chicago. So this would be around 9 p.m. tonight. You could give or take a couple hours. It's hard to tell with the timing of these storms, but again, you're going to be pretty close to the center low pressure of this system. So you could have some fast accumulations at this time. I would say the same for northern Indiana and then southwestern Michigan as well. You could have some heavy snow falling around this time. And we're still snowing back there in Iowa, back there in Minnesota as we get into Sunday morning. And then eventually all of the snow begins to move out as we push into Sunday afternoon. And then Sunday evening, here we go. A lot of rain up and down the coast, and you can see some snow falling through inner New England and maybe some decent snow falling up in the mountains. As we get into Monday, we start to see another storm system developing over the central plains, moving up towards the Midwest. This could be some more snow for portions of Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, maybe a little bit out here in Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma. We're going to have to watch that as well. This system begins to move off to the northeast, and oh my gosh, the Euro is getting very close to putting a lot of snow down along the I-95 corridor. We know how this always turns out. It's going to be just up to the northwest of the I-95 corridor potentially. It's early season. That's typical, but there's still a chance here on the models that we do get a little bit of snow down there in Philly, New York City, maybe even Baltimore. We'll have to see. It's going to be close. I think it's mostly going to be slush or rain. So this system moves up through the northeast on Tuesday into Wednesday. Some really good inner New England snow. You're going to have some good snow in central PA, potentially out there in Pittsburgh, upstate New York. And then we could actually see some decent snow in coastal New England. The Euro is giving us a chance for potentially 3 to 4 inches into Boston. It may just be inland. Again, it's a little bit early in the season. You can see this sharp cutoff of snow. Here's DC, Baltimore, Philly, New York City. It's really cutting off just to the northwest of you guys, but some back end cold air could try to push a little bit of snow towards the coast. And I think that might be the case with Boston. So let's see if we can get some accumulation out here in Boston. I do think we will have at least a little bit of snow accumulation up and down the main coast. Now past this, and we're getting a little bit out of forecasting range, but we continue to see this cold air sinking in. The Euro wants to give tons of snow chances for us in the eastern US. Let's just quickly move forward and take a look at it. This is getting into next weekend. Here we go. Another clipper system moving down for portions of potentially the upper Midwest and then out there towards New England. We have a lot of rain falling down here in the southeast. We have some more moisture moving into the southwest, and then we have some more moisture funneling up here into the Pacific Northwest. We have another buckle of our polar jet. And again, we have some more snow moving into the upper Midwest. This is going to push out towards the Northeast. Some good snow moving down here into Montana and Wyoming. And this is extremely cold air. You can see all that lake effect snow that wants to be triggered. This is also trying to push snow out towards the coast. Again, we'll see if we're cold enough out here, but a big buckle in the jet. A low pressure system potentially starts to make its way up the coast here from the Gulf, and the cold air is in place. And look at that. You have potentially a nor'easter setup a little bit farther down on the Euro. The Euro keeps showing these potential nor'easter setups for the East Coast. We're going to have, and I've said it over and over again, a good setup to get a chance for them in December. This also would be a good setup if the storm system down to the south would move up to the northeast. Way at the end of the run, we're not really going to take this too seriously. But again, the pattern looks really nice just for the eastern US in general. And I've brought this up a few times. Our 30-day 500 millibar height anomaly from the European Extended Ensemble. Here we go. That is a fantastic setup for cold air and winter storm tracks out east through Christmas. So still a good sign. Like I've said, you're probably going to get really close along the East Coast to getting a lot of snow here in the coming 7 to 10 days. You might not get any, but there's still going to be chances for you as we push through December, potentially multiple chances for you guys. And by the way, you want to talk about cold air, watch the East. We're cold right now, obviously 5 to 20 degrees below average for much of us out east and in the northern Rockies, northern plains. Look as we move forward, another big shot of cold air for the central plains and east, then another big shot of cold air for the central plains and east, more cold air for the East Coast, more cold air for the East Coast, more cold air for the East Coast. It's really nonstop on the Euro. The GFS tries to bring a a little bit of a warm up as we push into mid-December. I think that may happen, but overall for the eastern half of the US, it continues to look pretty aggressive across the global models in terms of having a very active start to winter, a lot of cold air, and a lot of snow chances for everyone. I really appreciate you watching this video. If you like this type of content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post videos like this every single morning, and as soon as I post them, I hop on live stream to answer all of your weather-related questions. And if you want to become a member of the Climate Crew, the link to my Discord is right down in the description. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or in the live stream.